Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. Today I want to take a look at some new vinyl purchases that I made, and these are definitely some albums we're talking about. And we're going to start off with An Undying Love for a Burning World, the newly released full-length album by Neurosis, put out after a lengthy hiatus. And Neurosis are one of my favorite bands, and like most people, when I saw that announcement and new release just out of the blue to the public that day back in March. Definitely spent some time with it, but didn't really get into it deep until I finally purchased a copy. And actually, speaking of which, I mean, I hear there's been people like in the States and stuff who were waiting quite a while to get their hands on theirs, and while they were still waiting for their copies, I actually found mine at my local record store. It was definitely pricey, but it was cool that they had it, and I'm thrilled to have it in my collection. So this is double yellow vinyl. And a very nice package overall. The album, like most Neurosis albums, it's gonna be in my rotation for years to come, and my opinions will definitely change with it. Right now, I don't know where I would stack it in the Neurosis discography discussion, but I'm still gonna give this like a 9 out of 10 for an album just standing on its own without the band name attached to it. You start off with We Are Torn Wide Open, a short, effective intro. It really outlines what Neurosis is all about. Second track, Mirror Deep, kind of brings you back to Through Silver and Blood. Third track, First Red Rays. Now, I haven't mentioned yet that after the unfortunate departure of Scott Kelly, the announcement of the new album was paired with the announcement that Aaron Turner, formerly of ISIS and many other bands and currently of Sumac, has joined the band as a full-time member on guitars and vocals. So I bring that up at this point to say that First Red Rays is a song that very strongly reminds me of ISIS, could in fact be an ISIS song. One thing I really like about it is near the end, it's a bit of a emotive, emotional, but not too busy guitar solo. And I could be missing something obvious, but I mean, guitar solos in Neurosis, I'm having trouble thinking of one. So obviously, Turner has been brought into the songwriting fold. Next up, another strong track, Blind. Seething and Scattered and Untethered, basically the middle of the album. These are two great songs, but probably the low point. Seething and Scattered, it just doesn't make impact like some of the other songs. And then Untethered, there's a couple of vocal things that I wasn't crazy about. In the Waiting Hours, once again, we have a song that could very well be an ISIS song. And ISIS are one of my favorite bands. And actually, you know what? It's almost like I respect Neurosis more as an overall project, but ISIS have 2 albums in my top 20 albums of all time. So, higher highs from ISIS. I don't know who I like better. But, so yeah, I mean, I love ISIS, so I love the incorporation of their sound. Some Neurosis fans might say it's kind of changed them a bit, and it definitely has. Last song is called Last Light. It's about 16, 17 minutes, and that for me is my personal highlight. It's kind of all over the place. Kind of some terrifying vocals at the beginning. And I have to say, Aaron Turner, he is one of the more underrated extreme metal vocalists of all time, I think. People talk about ISIS, but they don't really talk about the vocals on ISIS. But this song goes through a lot of phases, but near the end, it has this kind of a shoegazy post-rock thing that goes on for a number of minutes, and I really love that passage. And it kind of keeps going through my head when I kind of, enjoy a nice spring summer day. Here we are right now. And I have to assume that optimism is the glimmer of hope in the album title, An Undying Love for a Burning World. So that's Neurosis. Definitely going to be one of my albums of the year, but I have many, many more hours to spend with it. Another addition from the local store was the return of Warning and their Rituals of Shame, released on Relapse Records. This is on, what'd you call that? Maroon? Maroon red? So, Warning. Doom metal band from England. They released 2 albums, the second of which is considered an all-time classic. And then the project would be discarded by main man Patrick Walker for 40 Watt Sun. 40 Watt Sun had a lot in common with Warning, just less heavy and more stripped down. And just kind of a random detour. I remember the last time I saw, or I don't know if it was the last time I saw them, but one of the times I saw Agalloch in Toronto, I was with a coworker I don't really keep in contact with anymore. But, the house music in between sets, it was Paul Bearer, The Ghost I Used to Be. And I am a huge Paul Bearer fan, but I'm an album guy, and that first single before the album came out, I hadn't heard it yet. So I kind of heard it, and I was like, to my friend, I was saying, you know what this sounds like to me? It sounds like 40 Watt Sun if they went back to the metal. And I thought that was a pretty kind of interesting comment at the time. And then I went on to that song be on Foundations of Burden, which is one of my favorite albums ever. So 40 Watt Sun, I really liked the first EP and the first album. Incredibly emotional music. The last full-length album was fine, but nothing really stuck with me. But here we are, the return of Warning. And I would say this is at that meeting point between Old Warning and 40 Watt Sun. It's heavier, but still the vocals are the main focus of the band, and the lyrics. Now, the first time I put this on the turntable, I kind of cringed, and I still kind of struggle with it a little bit. The same way I had issue with the last Paul Bearer album. I love the album, but the first song, some of the vocals, I don't know. So yes, first song on here, the title track, Rituals of Shame. To be honest, it kind of sounds like Ozzy has finally finished his transformation into an old lady. He just sounds really weird, and yeah, some of those vocals on the first song, not into it, but the album did start to grow on me. 5 somewhat lengthy songs, but my favorite is probably Stations, which is a shorter song, about 5 minutes, that brings me back to Warning and some of the stronger 40 Watt Sun material. So, a little bit of mixed reactions on this album, but I am going to put in my hours with it. For better or for worse, extremely emotional, and a very important band right now. I'm going to keep in the Doom category with the last one we look at today, and this is the self-titled album by Trouble. This was Trouble's 4th full-length album. By my account, probably their second best, and long overdue with having its physical presence in my collection. So this is a re-release on Hammerheart. It's 2 green vinyls. And actually, I didn't even know until I brought this home and looked a bit closer, but the second record is all bonus live material. And where's that from? Side 3 is live in Dallas, Texas. Actually, I guess both sides are. So I got the classic album and Live in Dallas. Quick detour. Manic Frustration, that is the album that came after the self-titled album. And this album here is I put it at number 2 in my top 50 albums of all time. Some days I might say number 1. But it's always going to be a top 5 album for me. And actually, the same place I bought that one had a very affordable copy on vinyl of Manic Frustration. I just haven't bit quite yet. These albums are very comparable. They were their 2 major label albums when they signed to Def American. And a lot of people I find will tell you this is the best one, but I've always been a Manic Frustration guy. But a lot of parallels. They're just very similar albums. Favorite songs on this have to be The Wolf, which is just an all-time metal classic. Perfect song. The last song, All Is Forgiven. And then I gotta go with The Misery Shows, Act 2, which brings to mind a lot of the softer moments that would be in the future on Manic Frustration. So a lot of this is nostalgia from my teenage years when I picked that up. I was probably about 15. But this is what is on my playlist these days. Eric Wagner's vocals, it's like on their own, like objectively, like I don't really like them, but just they're perfect for Trouble. Pretty much a perfect record. And I think I need to pick up some of the Trouble albums that I'm missing. I only have, I think, 4 of them. And I think that's it for me today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.